Well, as we are watching the tournament, we do get to see some of the top talent in this year's draft, including the player Kyle Boone has going #1 overall in his latest mock draft, Gonzaga's Chet Holmgren. 7'1", about 195. He can do pretty much everything against Georgia State to open the tournament. 19 points, 17 boards, 7 blocks, 5 assists, 2 steals. And by the way, Chris, if
yes.
you want to feel old, you know what year he was born in?
2002.
Got it. You feel old?
You know,
guys
it took time to adjust to some college players not remembering 9/11. Now they were born after 9/11.
Oh, well after.
It's
after there. All right, I got to run through this real fast. Holmgren, you can see going #1. Jabari Smith to the Rockets, #2. Paolo Banchero from Duke to the Pistons, 3. Jaden Ivey sitting 4th right now, going to the Thunder. And we're going to go back to Duke. AJ Griffin going to the Trailblazers, 5th overall. There you go, number 11. Keegan Murray, Christopher, calm down. You immediately got on set, wanted to know where he was going. 11 to the Pelicans. Keelan Brown, Jeremy Sochan, both from Baylor, going 13 and 15 to the Hornets and Thunder, respectively. And then taking a look at 21 through 30, 2 players from Ohio State, E.J. Liddell to the Grizzlies at 26, and Malachi Branham to the Warriors at 28. Let's welcome in Kyle Boone so we can all feel old together. Chet Holmgren versus Jabari Smith. This is where I want to start, though, because there's a lot of argument right now. Who is going to be #1 overall? What is the case for these two gentlemen?
Yeah, 2 big men with 2 totally different skill sets. Chet Holmgren, 7 foot, less than 200 pounds, a really versatile offensive player who can put the ball on the floor. He's got great range. He can shoot threes and pull up transition. Defensively, he is an elite shot blocker, and I think that's really kind of his big selling point is defensively. I think he can be an anchor in the NBA, despite being as skinny as he is. Jabari Smith, he's more of an offensive weapon at this point. He's got a great outside shot. He's got a buttery jumper, really good shot creation. Auburn down the stretch of the season really turned to him to be their #1 options. Ultimately, I think it's going to come down to team risk tolerance. Whoever is picking at #1, are they going to take the guy with the higher ceiling, potentially, in Chet Holmgren, who's 7'1", definitely needs some development. Overall, I think has the highest potential in 5 years, but definitely needs to add some weight to his frame. He's really, really skinny. Meanwhile, Jabari Smith looks like a totally finished product at this point, despite being a freshman. He's a guy who I think can probably come in and contribute right away. Physically, he looks completely ready. Athletically, I think he's got the goods to be the #1 pick. This is going to be a race over the next few months that I think is going to be really, really fascinating. 2 elite big men at the top of this draft.
Let's look at some Duke players here because you have 2 in the top 5 right now. You have Paolo Banchero going to the Pistons, 3rd overall. AJ Griffin to the Trailblazers at 5 right now. When it comes to Banchero, I mean, is he the clear #1 guy from you from this Duke team?
It's not clear. I think there's a real debate. We have Paolo Banchero currently going ahead of AJ Griffin. The polish that he has as a scorer, as a producer at the college level is really impressive. If you go back to high school and even growing up, he was a guard. He was not some 6'10" forward who played the big man position. So that experience that he garnered growing up as a guard, I think has really helped him. His passing skills for his position, for his size, I think really stands out. His shooting, his defense, some bigger question marks about that and how that's going to translate to the NBA. AJ Griffin, though, I think is the really interesting kind of X factor, not only with this Duke bunch that could go in the first round, but in the entire first round of this NBA draft. He's 6'6". He shoots it around 50% from 3, just a bulldog defender. And he started this season injured. He's injured again right now. I think there's some concerns about his injury history. But long-term, what his future could be, I think could be like a #2 scoring weapon, someone who I think NBA teams are really excited to dig into. He's a really young prospect as well, still just kind of developing and growing into what he can be long-term.
What about Purdue's Jaden Ivey? Right now you have him going 4th to the Thunder. Purdue's still dancing, but is it possible for him to jump into your top 3? What would you need for that to happen?
Yeah, he's #1 on the CBS Sports big board, so we still believe that Jaden Ivey can be the guy from this draft class. If I were handicapping it now, I'd say NBA teams probably view him as the 3rd or 4th prospect in this draft, but he absolutely has a chance to jump into the mix as the clear-cut number 2 or number 3 guy. If you kind of comp his game, athletically, he's a special talent. He can pressure the rim, get downhill, and create just as well as any prospect in this draft. If you're nitpicking his game, he plays a little flat-footed on defense. He has some Russell Westbrook to his game on defense that I think can be concerning. He has some great highlight plays where you think, wow, defensively, this guy's special. He can pick off passes and take it the other way for a huge dunk. He's not a plus defender. And then if you're projecting him long-term, we think he can be a lead guard in the NBA. But his decision-making with the ball in his hands still needs to improve. He's only a sophomore. We think he can improve. But if he's able to kind of shore up some of those deficiencies, I think he could jump into the top 3 in this draft.
Kyle, right now you have 4 prospects in the top 20, not coming from universities, but developmental leagues. Who do we need to keep our eye on?
Yeah, Dyson Daniels from the G League is one to absolutely keep an eye on. He's a guy who we have in our law.
I think he froze. I think that's what happened there.
3 guards from the G League. I'm not sure if I still have you here.
Yep, you're back. You're back.
Okay. Dyson Daniels, Marjon Beauchamp, and Jaden Ivey, all from the G League, all guards, all guys who I have in my top 20 projections for this year's NBA draft. Jaden Ivey is the one that I would highlight here as the potential guy who could really make a high move up this draft. He's a former 5-star recruit, was a top 5 prospect coming into this year, and has really struggled in the G League. His efficiency hasn't been great, but a guy who I would kind of comp to Kevin Porter Jr. at the college level, where he is able to create off the ball and with the ball in his hands, that I think is really special. He's got a step back 3 in his game, and just the overall polish that he has on offense is really impressive. I think his skill set on offense is going to translate to the NBA immediately.
Kyle, we appreciate it. And by the way, if he does cut out, you can check out his entire latest mock on CBSSports.com. No, Kyle's been doing great work. He has been working as hard as anyone. All of our guys in the world of college basketball have just been incredible there. Taking a look again at his latest mock draft, 1 through 10. Chris, are you okay with all this?
Yeah, Jaden Ivey, he's a slick player. I would love slick. I would love to see him on my team in the NBA.
Thanks, God. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.